Hello and welcome to Digital Disruptors. I'm Gabriella Power. I'm here at the 2022 ACS Reimagination Thought Leaders Summit in Sydney. The world has changed significantly since the coronavirus outbreak in 2020, but technology has enabled companies and teams to adapt, to grow, and even unlock new opportunities. Reimagination is all about inspiring and learning from the innovators, disruptors and leaders who are making a difference. Disruption has become such a large part of tech culture and community, but how do we ensure the market embraces and engages with innovation? Emma, it's so great to be with you. What is it like for you being up here, being part of this panel at the Reimagination Thought Leaders Summit, speaking to some of the tech minds here? How important is it that we have events like this after the past few years of COVID?
Look, so important and so excited to be back face to face. It was actually, I was, obviously paying a lot of attention on the panel just now and really engaged with the panel, but I was also counting, who was out there in the audience, and, just was so fantastic to see so many different faces, some familiar faces as well. I think that we've really missed this, and it just hasn't been the same over the past couple of years for sure. So this feels like the beginning of a new era again.
Now, on the panel, we spoke about trust and trust in technology. You also spoke about the importance of having conversations and how they're not really that easy all the time.
Well, I think that when you're having a conversation about trust, and particularly in the context of data, which we spoke about on the panel, there are so many different perceptions and perspectives around what that conversation can be about. And, in the context of which we operate, which is in the grain supply chain, so many different participants with, who come from such diverse backgrounds. And it's really, a conversation that can sometimes be difficult to have with everyone at the same time. It's time consuming in that, you need to get out there and have that conversation. But, trust is like Rome, not built in a day. And it's still not just a byproduct of technology, but also a byproduct of relationships and, and person-to-person interactions, I believe.
Sarah Adam-Gedge is Managing Director at WIPRO Australia, New Zealand. You were speaking about trust in your panel discussion, and you spoke about how trust really needs to start from the top. Why is that?
Well, I think there's many examples of organisational failures. You could be a government agency, could be a publicly listed business, could be a founder-led business, and when, let's say, Joe on the panel said the tone is one part, and I think that's important, but if you don't have the foundations, it's the same as anything. If the building blocks are not there, then people actually don't know how to sometimes behave, with place or the world, or, as humans, we've got dilemmas every day. It's not easy in the workplace to always know what's right and wrong. I'm constantly, talking with people about, maybe it's a change we want to bring about, and I'm saying, what do you think of this? So it's not just, I'm just not always going to know what it is, but I want to hear views from other places. So, you want to be able to make sure that people understand not just the difference between right and wrong, but there's so much grey. Really, we work in the grey. To be effective today, you have to be able to work in the grey. And so if you don't have building blocks that actually give you some steerage or guidance, then it becomes incredibly difficult. So, that can't be bottoms up in an organisation. It really does have to come from the top.
Deputy Director of the Data Science Institute at the University of Sydney, Adam Berry, is a key player in driving innovation and digital disruption.
Technologies that you trust and technologies that drive trust, but I think all of that needs to sit effectively within an ecosystem of conversation and understanding that actually supports discussions of what trust is and how we actually deliver that. So you can have technologies that inspire trust, absolutely, but they only come to fruition if meaningful conversation around trust actually exists and is well propagated.
As our digital lives continue to evolve, there's never been a more important time to protect our data.
So often we sort of break down adversaries into three categories where we say, look, there are hacktivists, children, unskilled, unsophisticated actors. The 17-year-old guy, perfect example. And the second one, we say, well, there are people out there who are career criminals who are doing this for money. They have a sense of ROI, they will invest, they want a return from it. We see this every time your credit cards get stolen. And then there are nation-state actors. This is what we see on the TV every day at the moment. So if we look at it from that perspective, they are our three biggest threats, those three classes of actor.
Now, what do you think about password managers and banks?
I like banks.
Sometimes.
Well, first of all, I think everyone should have a password manager. Disclosure, I'm on 1Password's board, so take that under consideration, but a password manager like 1Password, where you put all of your passwords in there, you generate them so they're long and they're strong and they're crazy and they're random, and then you protect the password manager as well as possible. And for things like banks, like that's the most important stuff. If you're using the same password on your bank as other places, well, that's a worry. And if you don't have a password manager, eventually you end up reusing passwords somewhere or other.
So don't put your password in your notes on your iPhone?
Here's why I hesitate. The reason I hesitate is that if you were to do that and it was a unique password, that is still better than having 1Password in your head that's the same everywhere, because you get 17-year-old old mate in the UK, he gets your password from like catforum.com or something, you've used that everywhere, and now he's into all of your things. And what I sort of do, let's say with my mum, she's in her 70s, I don't think I'm going to get her onto a digital password manager, she has a physical notebook. So now her threat actor is someone who can break in the house and steal that book, and that's much less likely than the 17-year-old kid.
Nikki Dobble specialises in cybersecurity recovery and technology transformations. So being clear with your vision, how else do you best prepare for the future?
Gosh, well, the future can be wide, and I think making sure that you can pivot very well, and pivot's a bit like an overused word, a bit like transformation, I think. But in that session, I was talking about people always focus on the scale of how they're going to scale their business, and I think you need to know that your business isn't always going to grow. Sometimes your business is actually going to shrink. So knowing what to do and how the future holds is making sure you're giving yourself options there. That's not always going to be about growth. What are you going to do when a pandemic hits and you work in travel insurance? You know, how are you going to be able to manage whatever comes at your way? Because it's not always going to be positive. How have you built your tech stack to be able to respond to anything that gets thrown at you?
Pivot, it is one of those words that we used a lot in the pandemic. There's a few of them. No. Pivot, work from home. There's a few terms that we have just used so much in the past few years.
My name is Tim Fong. I'm the co-founder and the CEO at Airtasker, and I must say this is the first time I've done an in real life event for about 2 years, so I'm a little bit nervous, and I was actually hoping that this morning we could try and, for the in-person folks here, try to build up a bit of energy in the room. So I'm going to be really cheesy and say and ask you all to say, when I say hell, you say yeah. So can I give a hell? Yeah! Hell? Yeah! Hell? Yeah! Okay, that's awesome. It's such a power trip when you're on a stage. You get to do stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
A company that has been able to transform a new world is Airtasker.
So at Airtasker, we wanted to gather the best of what we can get from being remote, as well as leverage the benefits of in-person working. And so as we articulated this to our team, we had to sit down and think, hey, what is it that we actually care about? So the first thing that we decided that we cared about at Airtasker is flexibility. So I think for all of our staff, it was really important that as we hired new staff, we were able to create flexibility for them to be able to balance their work life and their home life, and to entrust our staff to be able to come up with a balance that suits them. I think the second aspect is ensuring that there's vector alignment. So making sure that everybody is moving in the same direction, and that we're not just a bunch of individuals working on stuff, we are more than the sum of our parts. Thirdly, and something that probably isn't called out as much in designing a hybrid working structure, is the concept of accountability. So we thought deeply about this, and I think a lot of organizations refrain from using this terminology when talking about, like, one of the reasons why in-person working was really good. I think that at Airtasker, what we realized is that when you're doing, when we're talking about in-person work and accountability in that respect, it's accountability to your peers and to your team. So it's not about me, the CEO, or the company trying to keep anyone accountable for following through. It's actually to do with teams. Lastly, we realized that one thing that was really important to us is network effects. And what we realized is that when you, if you ask everybody, hey, which day of the week do you want to come into the office, or when do you want to come into the office, you would get like a really, really separated response, because everybody is going to have their own reasons for wanting to be in the office or not being in the office on a particular day. And that fragments what everybody wants. When you do that, you kind of realize that, hey, when I go into the office every day, 1/5 of people are there. And so when that happens, you're losing those network effects. So the solution that we designed and which we're really proud to be implementing is that we've found a balance here where we've empowered each team and said, hey, we're completely open to the way in which you want to work. So amongst your team, decide whether you want to work 1 day a week, 1 day a month, you want to come into the office, you want to be fully remote, etc. And once that team has decided on that methodology through which they want to work flexibly, they publish that onto our joint Slack channel. And then once we have that, that's what you stick to. And so we're balancing that idea of accountability and network effects. So we know everybody knows where everybody else is, and we have that degree of accountability and discipline in the way we work. But we're also combining that with our flexibility for you to decide.
Coming up, how to overcome new challenges for you and your business. Welcome back to the 2022 ACS Reimagination Thought Leaders Summit in Sydney. As we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, new challenges have arisen for many businesses around the country. While business aims to attract and recruit the best talent, the focus is how do we keep them on home soil?
Yeah, I think there's a really positive lens to this, which is that demand is in the tech sector is globally scaling. And to me, I view this as the Australian technology sector is coming of age. I think a lot of startups are growing. We've got lots of unicorns now in Australia. This wasn't true 10 years ago. And naturally with that comes exponential demand for those skills. And that's exponential growth is a very hard thing to fill. I think so some of the challenges, like just to call on what we're seeing at Canva, last year we had over 260,000 job applications and we ended up filling over 1,300 roles. So we're very lucky to be in such an incredible position that we're attracting that kind of interest. But nonetheless, it's a very challenging technology market. We are absolutely feeling that. And I think one of the key areas that I think we're struggling is on those specialized skills, those areas where Silicon Valley has decades of experience building out certain, for example, product management or say MarTech or various areas. These are places where Australia is still playing catch up, and I think that's making for a really, a bit of a pinch on talent.
Tom, great to be with you. I really enjoyed hearing from you on the panel. A few things came out of that. Can we talk about how do we attract the best tech talent in Australia?
Yeah, I think the first step has got to be inspiring people to get into the industry. What we know is that we are just not producing enough talent to meet the needs of the industry. The Tech Council's job is for us to have 1 million jobs by 2025, which is going to require more than 200,000 new people to enter the industry, and the biggest way that can happen is from reskilling from other industries. So we really need to tell the story about what great jobs tech jobs are. We know they're among the most highly paid, most flexible and most stable jobs in the Australian economy, which is why we're really excited to tell that story so that we can, first of all, just say, hey, this is something you may not have considered, but as we kind of come out of the pandemic, we really think it's something that Australians should consider.
So there's reskilling and then also inspiring younger people from the start to get involved in a career in tech. How do you do that?
Yeah, again, I think it's about telling those stories, right? So we need young people to get inspired so that they want to study in either a vocational or university qualification in tech. And particularly we want to inspire young women because we know that they are severely underrepresented in terms of our university education and vocational education in tech. Only 1 in 10 people studying in Australia who are studying in a tech degree are women, and only 1 in 4 people in the tech sector are women. But we know that the pay gap between men and women is much lower in tech than in, for example, other highly paid industries.
As our lives become more digital, it's never been more important to protect our information and to have a better understanding of the value of data.
From the health industry, I guess.
Look, from a health perspective, it's really much the same. Realistically, our patients and citizens simply expect, government already knows, they expect us to simply know and then treat them appropriately, to do the modelling, to enable them to have better population health outcomes. There's a clear expectation. I think COVID really has brought it to the fore, where expectations have probably doubled or tripled on what they were 2 years ago. And I think what we're seeing is government always talks about evidence-based decision making, and it's a wonderful catchphrase and policy officers love it. I would say in the last 2 or 3 years, it's the first time I've actually seen it in action, where it's just a routine basis where you're actually making a decision, and COVID's a prime example. Decisions were being made daily by chief health officers around the country based on a lot of data and a lot of evidence. And those were data sets that we're bringing together with sort of a day's notice, 2 days' notice. You'd watch the press conference the day before and go, oh, okay, there goes the night. That's what we're doing tonight. We're now building a whole new data set or a data model around this to answer the questions the next day. And I think really the solid data and data that's reliable and available and without any doubt about its integrity is now essential to what we do. And I can't see as we move beyond COVID going back to the bad old days before that.
Digivisor are Australia's leading social web analytics and activations technology company. How do we understand the value of our data?
I think at the heart, data is connected to the decisions you're making about your business, and your business will be based on customers. It'll be about empowering your employees. It will be about making good decisions as leadership. So data is core to that, and it should be seen as a very important part of your business in understanding how to get the best out of it, what questions you want to ask of it, that it's in a secure environment, it meets. We talked in the panel around the experiences we're trying to create for our customers, that they trust you as a brand, that you're managing the information that they're sharing with you or the touch points that they're having with you in a way that is actually beneficial to them. So that's how I see data. It's like just this lens of it's the way to do business, and it helps you make better decisions if you do it right.
Has our reliance on data changed throughout the COVID pandemic?
I mean, it did it escalated because it's just the scale and size. Companies obviously went into a hybrid or a complete remote situations. They had to learn to engage their customers, their employees, suppliers, anyone in their infrastructure, even legally, contracts and things that were moving. The physical bricks and mortar kind of thinking of the past had to go. And so these additional points of data, because of that digital footprint or the digitisation of business increasing, meant that businesses had to get their head around it and escalate their decisions around how to manage the scale that would have increased for them, the speed in which decisions or engagements, or in complete ways that they were actually serving their customers. Financial services is a classic one that had to really solve that quickly.
Named one of the top 100 Women of Influence 2019 by the Australian Financial Review, Melanie Tran continues to inspire.
The advice that I would give is to always start small. It's very easy to get lost and intimidated by how big our system is and all the systemic changes that need to happen. But start small. Start by influencing change in what you can control, whether it's the people you're surrounded by or the work that you do, or even just the areas that you're passionate about. Use your knowledge and your expertise and your own lived experience and your own story to start influencing that change in your way. And I guess there's no right or wrong way to do this because everyone's so different. It's just about how individuals can contribute in their own unique ways, whether it's big or small.
You spoke about your experience, the people that have shaped you and influenced you, and your turning point when you wanted to make a difference. Can you talk to us about that and when you make that decision?
I think there were multiple points. There were multiple pivotal moments, I think, that sort of led me to where I am right now. And I think I certainly stumbled across probably different paths that weren't the best. But I learned a lot from that, and I think what's really made the difference, it's not the knowledge, like my knowledge in the disability sector or my experience, or my knowledge in the design sector. I think what has made a really big difference for myself and my own personal journey, it's the people around me.
There's one thing we can all agree on at this year's conference, the joy of being back here in person.
I think the value for me today is the fact that I get to meet people that perhaps, I've only spoken to on the phone, like Michelle I've only ever seen on video conference. So getting to see these people, again, collaborating and I don't know, it just makes me feel good and excited that I get to not be on a screen and walk around a room, and that in itself is good before any of the other topics come up today.
I've been speaking to so many people tonight and they're saying after COVID and we're all getting back together in person, like it's just amazing to be together. And I've met so many amazing people, like they've all come with, their different backgrounds and they're here sharing them tonight, so yeah, it's just really cool.
I'm just totally uplifted myself by actually listening to the speakers and sitting on a panel. I haven't done it for a couple of years, and I'm thinking this is absolutely what we need to do to get the tech community back, all communities back actually, so it's super important. ACS has always done a magnificent job really attracting people in, embracing all ranges of people in tech, and it's great to be here.
That's all for this year's ACS Reimagination Thought Leaders Summit. It's hard not to feel inspired by the many faces that are causing a digital disruption here and around the world. Hello, we're here at the 2022 ACS Digital Disruptors Awards Night, celebrating the amazing tech talent in Australia. The awards recognises the individuals and organisations who are single-handedly promoting and contributing to the tech industry. After 2 years of postponement, the Digital Disruptor Awards have returned. 9 winners from 28 finalists and hundreds of applications from across the country celebrate being the top of their field across the ICT and technology sectors.
This is really exciting. We have not been together for, it seems like an eternity, but definitely the last 2 years. And it's so good to see each other in a 4D environment, i.e., yeah, that's a word. Because we're going to experience a meal or meals together over time. So that's fantastic. It's far, far better, although probably not as efficient or effective as a 2D screen. But it is great to be here with fellow humans. What we have seen, I think, over the last 2 years is a massive transformation in perception. I think for the last few decades, the IT industry is probably like the tonsils. Tonsils, like, you've got them, but you don't know what they really do. I don't know what tonsils do. But some organisations take them out, particularly in the last few decades, but I can guarantee you dinosaurs never had tonsils, nor a space agency. But the point is, they were always in the background, particularly the last couple of decades. But that rapidly changed in terms of its public perception during COVID, when we saw that IT really became the centre of so much of our response, whether it was the data modelling that we needed to understand mobility at the early phases to start predicting those curves, whether it was opening up data to enable transparency around infection rates, to build trust in the community, whether it was the QR codes to keep us safe, particularly during the Alpha and the Delta outbreaks, as we were building up to a high vaccination rate, whether it was the Dine and Discover vouchers that were needed to boost the economy as we were bouncing out, or whether it was the IT platforms that we needed to book online for those booster shots and continue to use. You know, IT has truly transformed. It's no longer the tonsil. You've morphed into the spine of really organisational structures. You are in everything. You are so important. You are critical. But IT will never replace the heart or the soul. IT is there to help humanity. It's there to help our planet. It's there to improve quality of life. It's there to reduce suffering. It's never there to replace us. It's there to help us. But that is how powerful and important you are moving forward. Everybody that's really in the IT space, you are seriously shaping our future. And I know, because I can see it every day, that without you, our future is bleak. With you, our future is good.
And that future couldn't be any brighter than with the joint winners of the Emerging ICT Professionals of the Year Award. Chelsea, congratulations on the award, ICT Emerging Professional of the Year. How do you feel?
Amazing. I can't express how excited I am. I'm so nervous as well. I just really wasn't expecting it.
What does this recognition mean to the industry?
I think, so I didn't come from a tech background and I'm self-taught in a lot of things, and I think it's, you know, the meaning that it has is that you don't have to be someone who studies at uni. You don't have to be somebody who's, you know, typing code. You can really make a, you know, contribution without being super techie, I guess.
Do you know where you're going to put the award?
I'm going to put it on my desk at work. Just really brag about it for a little while.
It means a lot. I think it's a good way to kind of like recognize the people that's working in the ICT professional. I think the future is definitely for the tech, but for me personally, I think it's like something really, really important. I hope this is taken as an inspiration and it will encourage like more migrant myself or international students. I came to Australia as an international student, so I hope there's like more international students and migrant that gets inspired to go out there and take risk and almost do another startup, right? So that's what I'm hoping for.
Really paving the way. Is this part of the legacy you'd like to leave in the tech industry?
I'm not sure about the legacy, but even if there's like one person that I can actually motivate, that can actually make a impact in the wider community, right? I think I'd come out of it like feeling really proud of it.
And the winner of the best new tech platform is Humanitix.
I'm waiting for you, yeah, you know.
We've just won the club championships.
Yeah. Just so you know, we just won.
How are you feeling?
On top of the world. We never win anything. This is amazing.
That's a lie. So what doors does this open for you?
Well, I think it's a big recognition for us. We're expanding globally. So we've just set up an office in Auckland in the last 2 years and now Denver in the last 3 months. And so this is a recognition that it's worked really well in the Southern Hemisphere. And it's exciting. We haven't been recognized for that yet. And so everyone's put a lot of hard work into that, and that's what it means for us.
It's easy to see how Humanitix are inspiring other charities with their innovative, world's first non-for-profit ticketing platform, deserved winners of the Best New Tech Platform Award. What about the legacy that you're going to be leaving on the tech industry? Have you thought about that?
Oh, it's quite exciting actually. We've been contacted by quite a few entrepreneurs in the last 2 years wanting to start different tech charities in different areas, and so I think that's the legacy. Is we've kind of shown that you can build a tech platform without shareholders, where the shareholders are the world's most disadvantaged children. And that's inspired other entrepreneurs to do similar things. So there's like some really cool models going around.
Congratulations, guys. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other inspiring not-for-profit winners at the Digital Disruptors Awards include the team for Missions Connect, who have developed an immersive and interactive technological tool to tell the history of the stolen generation.
With the first-hand accounts of stolen gen survivors and this wonderful application of the virtual reality technology, it means that we can look past the history books. You know, we can see for ourselves, we can actually join those survivors and walk alongside them, walk with them in the experiences that they survived, so that we can have a shared view, a collective memory of Australia's past, because reconciliation is all about respect, and understanding and seeing together a future that we can all share. And I think Missions Connect really does embody that, and it's just such a wonderful initiative and such a generous, it's just a generous contribution of Sol & Gen survivors with this cutting-edge technology, which now gives Australia this incredible capability to move forward. You know, it has applications, I think, for the preservation, I think, of a lot of fragile, intangible cultural heritage that we have in Australia. Not only the painful memories that we have to confront as a nation, but also all of the other intangible heritage that we have in Australia as a way of preserving that, as a platform for education, for understanding, etc. And I think, as a former Director General of the National Archives of Australia, I think this technology has such potential for other countries in the world that also want to preserve their intangible heritage, especially First Nations culture, to educate their population and to share that rich cultural heritage for the whole population. So it has incredible potential for the future.
One of the key themes for this year's summit and awards is around transformation, something we've all experienced throughout the pandemic.
Over the 2 years since the DDAs were last presented, the world has changed, gone through huge things with the COVID pandemic. And where the world has really been impacted, it could have been so much greater if not for the rate of technology change over the last decade. Almost overnight, once things happened, people were able to work remotely, learn remotely, and do business online. And if you go back 10 years prior to that, if the COVID pandemic would have happened then, it's unimaginable what the impacts would have been. Basically, the world would have stopped. So with that said, the pandemic itself has also provided a great opportunity for accelerating the rate of technology transformation, and really that's what tonight's awards are all about.
All right, the winner of the service transformation for the digital consumer corporate is Openly. Woo! We're going to Zoom for the winner. Openly turns your smartphone into a remote medical monitoring device. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. This is a fantastic recognition of a lot of work that the whole team here at Emeria here in Perth have done. When the COVID-19 pandemic started, we had this vision of bringing remote monitoring and care to everyone, no matter where you were. And we looked at, factors like you needed to have special hardware. And we thought, well, everyone carries around a smartphone. So can we leverage that processing power, that technology that everyone walks around with every day, and create a platform that can capture high quality data, can record objective and validated vital signs, and deliver all of that to a healthcare team, which can then intervene and provide care no matter where you are. This software that allows your phone to record heart rate variability and rhythm detection, which is now approved with the TGA as a medical device, the first of its kind in Australia. And again, thank you so much to ACS for putting on these awards, and congratulations to all the other finalists and to all the other winners.
Well done.
Coming up, the highest honour of the night, the winner of the ICT Professional of the Year Award. Judging for the ACS Digital Disruptors Awards is an intense nationwide 9-month process. But the quality of entrants is something ACS President Dr. Nick Tate says is important to show how the Australian technology sector adapted and thrived despite the pandemic.
The tech industry has various award nights, but this is the only one I really know that's dealing with disruptions and Disruptors Awards. In other award nights, for example, they're often talking about particular projects or particular teams, sometimes individuals, but not always, but they're not talking about the effect on the economy, which is disruption. we are, and I think that's why it's such an important evening.
How important is it to recognise these disruptors?
Well, very important. If you're working away for weeks, months or years, you know, in the back room or wherever it may be on these projects, it's wonderful to have your peers and others in the industry and in the profession look at what you've done and pass judgment on it. Not in a negative sense, but to celebrate the fact that you've done so well. Otherwise, they're still sitting in the back rooms. Here we are bringing them here and showing everyone what they've done. And that also will help them, I'm sure, as they go on to further things with those early disruptor projects.
The ACS is a fantastic representative of the industry, and therefore winning an award tonight is a true reflection of your ability to add value to the industry, which is so important to our economy.
And why is it important that we recognise these disruptors?
Because at the end of the day, the Australian economy, as all economies around the world, are dependent upon innovation, entrepreneurship, and therefore IT, which is a central part of that, must be recognised. Otherwise, what are we going to do as an Australian economy?
The ability to collaborate, the ability to share stories is great tonight. Look, I think it's really important to recognise amazing talent. It inspires people, I think, to kind of want to push a bit harder next year and apply. And yes, I've had such good conversations. Better than Zoom, and no one's on mute.
And the winner of CXO Disruptor of the Year is Bob Sharon.
I'm just filled with excitement, with joy, but also for our team that works so hard at Blue IoT. It's like, you know, this is as much theirs as it is mine. It's a team effort that we're trying to bring to the world, and it just feels so good, you know. Really, it's just fantastic. And what this will do, it will help us spread more of this good, not only in Australia but around the world, and disrupt the place. And that's what this award is about, disruption. Absolutely. On every level. It's not just tech, it's customer engagement, it's about social good, it's about every layer, every level. It's disruption at every layer, and it's fun. And our whole team is all on the same page. And I'm just excited for myself and for them at the same time, and for our customers. It's just a fantastic feeling.
Where are you going to display the award?
Oh, it'll be in our boardroom. And we'll be plastering this all over LinkedIn too, I can tell you. Absolutely. It will sit, you know, front and centre with some of our other awards in our boardroom. But this is just a fantastic recognition by the ACS. And I'm just humbled and just appreciate this so much.
And it's not just individuals who are awarded for their contributions. The achievements of professionals within a group with ICT skills and service transformations are also recognised.
And the winner of the Research Project of the Year is University of Technology, Sydney. From the University of Technology, Sydney are world leaders in the development of AI-based solutions for industry. The UTS team partnered with American multinational e-commerce corporation eBay. This project developed cutting-edge social media monitoring technology to help eBay understand trending topics in social media, including from influencers and via hashtags, by undertaking content analysis and trend discovery in order to increase Gen Z's engagement with their products. Congratulations.
Congratulations on the award. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling very exciting, and I bring whole my team together and to witness the award. They will put all the efforts together, so it makes this happen. So I also thanks very much to ACS, who I think bring this, I think, strong recognition to our work.
And the winner of the Skills Transformation of Work Teams, Small Teams, is Auticon.
Auticon, a global social enterprise on a mission to provide equal employment opportunities for those with autism, were another group recognised for their contribution in the Work Teams category.
without the awareness and without those clients, we couldn't provide the opportunities, and we couldn't really just deliver the mission. And the mission is really all around providing opportunities, meaningful employment for autistic staff, and help to make the corporate landscape a little bit better in terms of just moving away from that paradigm that, oh, it's a charity topic. It's not, right? It's really all around inclusion, driving innovation, which you need to think differently. And so it means a lot to us because it helps us to have a little bit more of an advance in terms of sharing, what's important to us, and I think should be important to all of us. But it's just a lot of hard work, a lot of passion, and very excited. We're just you can hear it. It's just we're stoked.
And you're making such a great impact on the world, really, impacting so many people's lives.
Yeah.
Is this part of the legacy you're really leaving, I suppose, in the tech world?
I think we certainly want to, right? Because if you look at the stats in terms of 34% unemployment with people on the spectrum and 90% underemployment, so there's a lot of work. There are a lot of people out there who could do much more for themselves, for the society, for corporates. And I think it helps us basically to provide a platform for those individuals, create a better life and a more happy life, and just be a fully functioning member of society. And I think this will help all of us, right? So yes, absolutely. So we see the impact and we see the benefit. Every single consultant, every one of them basically had the experience that life got better after they joined us and basically had a fulfilling employment as well as happy clients.
The awards are an inspiring platform not just for winners, but those thinking about a career in tech, something the government sees as a key to our economic growth and future as a nation.
We are leading the way in pockets. So, for example, on e-construction, e-regulation, some elements in Health Service New South Wales. These are areas where we are leading the way, but equally there's lots of other areas that we need to lift our game. And let's be frank, if we do not invest in IT, we will rapidly fall behind. That's the truth.
And you mentioned this when you were speaking earlier, but the challenge of attracting the best tech talent in Australia, how do we do that?
Well, we need to inspire them to say, if you get into IT, you don't just change one life, you change the world. Literally, you change millions, billions of lives at any given time. And we've seen that throughout the course of the pandemic, how critical the IT sector is.
And I suppose an awards night like this is pretty significant in leading that inspiration for people to see what jobs are out there, what people are doing. What would you say about this awards and how it does inspire people?
Well, when people see the award recipients come up and how they have transformed lives, then instead of thinking, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this or that and the other, a counselling maker, they think IT could be an area where I can have a rewarding life choice. And that's what it's about. Most people want to have a job, a career, a path, a journey where they make a real contribution. IT is the future. It's a good place to start.
And there are so many examples of that here today, aren't there, of people who are creating something in the tech space that's really making a difference to so many people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. The last award recipient was in relation to the Indigenous space and how we can make profound outcomes there. E-health, that's another area that's just going to grow exponentially. So there is no area where IT is not going to be involved in.
And after 2 long years, a grueling 9-month-long nationwide judging process, there can only be one winner of the ICT Professional of the Year Award.
And the winner of the ICT Professional of the Year is Dr. Mahendra Samarikrama, Australian Red Cross. So excited, I'm throwing out bits. Dr. Mahendra.
Dr. Mahendra Samarikrama, he's actively involved and senior in AI, so artificial intelligence and data science. So that's a real now kind of area. Has very rich experience in that field. Has worked with a wide range of people and cultures and technologies, as well as from the governance perspective. He's an author, an inventor, mentor and regular speaker. So he was somebody who, to me, was leading some incredible strategies, and including for the Australian Red Cross, building capabilities for social justice and sustainability with diversity, equity and inclusion as part of that landscape.
Look, the smile says it all. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much. It's quite exciting, and this is monumental milestone for my company and for me. My team also became a finalist in this award, so I'm really proud.
What does this award mean to your industry?
We are leading AI innovations and transformations toward humanity and sustainability. In recent years, we try to bring technology equity to First Nations people, and also we wanted to bring diversity, equity, inclusions to the technology. I think this is a milestone that we got this recognition and quite achieved in our journey.
That's all from the 2022 ACS Digital Disruptors Awards. A huge congratulations to all the winners and finalists that have made this event such a huge success. See you next time.